welcome everybody to the workshop of sober dating. I'm sober in SLAA. I've been sober in SLAA for 7 years and 11 months now. I did the how concept, working the steps. So yes, I came into SLA almost 8 years ago. I acted out in codependent relationships, in fantasizing since I've been a kid, I guess. After being in a short marriage, I had several relationships at the same time, or not relationships, but romances or whatever, stories, you know, those kind of stories we have in SLAA or before SLAA. And it was getting worse and worse and worse. And in the beginning, I thought it was freedom. I came out of this marriage, it was very codependent, and I came off this marriage thinking now I'm free to do whatever I want. And I did whatever I want, and it didn't make me happy at all. At all. It was I was feeling lonely and empty, I guess my whole life. I don't know, at least as long as I remember, I felt like a planet flying in the universe on my own. And when I finished the 12 steps, I started dating. I made a dating plan with my sponsor, and first it was a plan that one of those plans I read somewhere. Like we have those several plans in SLAA. So I had, my bottom lines were 6 weeks or 6 dates without kissing, depending on what is longer. 10 weeks or 10 dates without sex, depending which is longer. And yeah, and I worked on my, I had a list of my wishes, like what I'm looking for in a person and in a relationship, and my red flags. So what I don't want and what is a no-go. For example, a red flag for me or no-go is active drug and alcohol addiction, because I have a past with that, and I guess because it's not very compatible with a sober relationship to have someone who's not sober. Even if I had to become a little more relaxed about it concerning alcohol, because in the beginning I would say for me the best is you don't drink at all. But I had to understand that not everyone is an alcoholic. So some people are able to have a few drinks once in a while without being an addict. One no-go is also being in a relationship. And this is not because today I don't think it's impossible to be sober and in a polyamorous context. It might be possible, but it's not possible for me. I know it triggers me too much. It triggers too much my fear of abandonment, and I cannot deal with that. And I guess this is one of the most important things I learned in sober dating, is to know my boundaries and to respect them, and to be honest with myself about them, because this was something I didn't do in the past. I used to feel something and then just go over it. Like with my qualifier, they said, I don't want a committed relationship. And what I said was, great. And what I felt was, oh no. You know, and I wasn't honest with myself. So yeah, I would say, great. No-goes, drugs and alcohol in an addictive pattern. Relationship, because I can't handle it, like if the other person is in a relationship already. And I guess nowadays, like my bottom lines got much less in the course of the last 4 years I'm dating, I guess. I'm becoming more confident about I guess about my sobriety, about my judgment, that today I'm able to decide to take healthy decisions without rules, because I love rules and regulations. And in the beginning, I loved this dating planet because it was so strict, you know. That's what I loved about the how concept too. It was so strict, and there was something I could, yeah, that's something I could deal with. And today it's more about becoming flexible, dealing with the gray areas of living, dealing with life on life's terms, and not so much with, yeah, dealing with life with the help of rules and regulations. So today I don't have any bottom line concerning kissing. I might kiss in the first date, or in the 6th date, or in the 10th, or never. It's something I based on my judgment. And I even had dates. I even had a date with a person I didn't really like. Like, I could see our values are not very compatible. And we kissed. And I really liked the kissing. And we never met again. So for me, sobriety today is I don't meet this person again because I don't like them, you know? And even if the kissing is good, I can value my values more than sex. And yeah, I guess this is sobriety for me. Like today, I trust myself. I can trust my judgment, and I could even have a one night stand if I wanted. But I guess it's not what I want, you know, because I need to trust. I need to trust the person. I need some kind of intimacy, emotional intimacy, to get that intimate physically. So I didn't do that until now, but I'm allowed, you know. And it's interesting how anorexia plays into dating, like that I can use bottom lines and rules and regulations to live my anorexia. And I'm really grateful to have a sponsor. He's a gay man, and he had to free himself of a lot of rules and shame around sexuality, and he helps me to do the same. And he kind of said, like, sex is not the enemy, right? Like, we are sexual human beings, or sexual beings. The big book says it's God-given. Like, sexuality is God-given. It's not something nasty and that we shouldn't live. It's part of, he even says it's part of health, like to have sexuality in my life. And so it really kind of freed my mind. And I even I started dating cisgendered men after that talk. It, much to my surprise, I just changed the setting in my dating app, and then suddenly there were so many guys liking me. I was really surprised, and it was interesting because when I came out first as a lesbian, then as a pansexual person, I kind of thought, now guys don't like me anymore. I don't know what I made up in my mind. And this, well, my dating app told me the opposite. And so I met some guys, and it's kind of a process of getting to know myself better. Now I can see, I think some of them are very attractive, but I don't really see myself in a relationship with a cisgendered person, a guy. And it's something valuable for me to get to know myself better. And this is the process of dating for me. Like, that's what my sponsor said in the beginning. It's dating is not finding a relationship. Dating is, on one hand, to get to know myself better, to get to know my character defects, which I can see clearly. I'm impatient, I'm judgmental, I'm controlling, I'm fearful towards God. Like, I've been dating for 4 years now, and I'm not in a relationship. So there are times when I think I'm doing it wrong. Something is wrong. I'm too anorectic, I'm too judgmental, I don't give people a chance. And then to understand that it's not in my hand when dating will lead to a relationship. It's really up to my higher power. And apparently my higher power thinks, whatever, you're not ready, or I have some other plans with you right now. Because actually, this is also something I had to learn, that my life can be so rich and so beautiful without a relationship. And maybe even because I'm single, I have so much time to do service, or to pursue my hobbies, as the promises say, like we pursue interests and activities we desire for ourselves. It's something I'm absolutely doing, and I enjoy it so much. And I can't imagine that I wouldn't do that, or I need to establish it so well in my life that afterwards, when I go into a relationship, then it's settled, then there is no discussion whether I go to my rehearsal or not, because I'm there. So higher power has some plan with me. I don't know which one. And there are moments also that I think it's so beautiful to be single and not have kids, and to have this total freedom of doing whatever I want, to really be grateful with what I have, and not longing what I don't have, and not fantasizing about that a relationship will be the solution. Because this is what I do as a love addict. Like, I think, then finally I will be complete and happy ever after. And that's just not the case. And I'm so grateful for all the people in SLAA who are in relationships, and I see, well, they're not better off than me. It's just they lead a different life. They have a relationship, and I have whatever, I have a hobby. Yeah, so to be grateful with what I have, to be humble what plans are out there for me. And also, I was just reading the big book lately, that if those in AA, they say, who don't get married, they have much more time to do service. And I thought, like, okay, that's me. I have much more time to do service because I don't have kids and so on. And I enjoy it so much to do that. So, what else about dating? I think I stop here and let you ask questions, because then I can be more specific about what you want to know. Thank you.
I'll start with the question we're asked the most. When can you start dating?
Great question. That's what I wanted to say in the beginning. Like, to be a spoiler, sober dating means you first get sober and then you start dating. So, there are different opinions about that. My first sponsor, she told me that she learned she should do step 9 until the steps until step 9, and then you can date. I did all the 12 steps because it was just like, after step 9, it's just a little more, some more weeks, and then it's done. So I did it, and I think it's quite, it makes sense to me, because we need all those 12 tools which are in the steps to date and to have sober relationships, and healthy relationships, because we need to surrender. We need really to admit that we are crazy around relationships. We need to take God into the equation. I need to hand it over to my higher power. I need to make my inventory to to clear away the wreckage of the past, and to see my patterns, like to really understand what went wrong in the past. Because if I don't know what went wrong, it will be the same all over. Every time I will do the same, because it's always me there, right? Step 9 was really important to me, to make amends to all the people in my life, my family and so on. Because, for example, I had a bad relationship with my father, and that's why I was seeking a person who would be kind of a father mother figure, and that doesn't work. So I needed to clear the relationship with my father, to make amends to my exes, my qualifier and so on. To just a very practical thing, like, I used to avoid all those lesbian queer spaces here because I was afraid of meeting the people of my past. And making amends to them puts me in a place where I can go there, I see them, and they are there. I see them, and it's okay. We're at peace. Maybe they don't like me still, but my side of the street is clear and clean, I hope, and I can go there without shame. So, and then step 10, to have this tool of daily inventory to, like, I can practice it with my flatmates, you know, like I'm grumpy, and then I can go there at night and say, I'm sorry I was grumpy. This is so important for a relationship. Step 11, to stay in this contact with my higher power and not make anybody else my higher power, but just to stay with God, Goddess, whoever it is. And in step 12, to stay in service and to carry the message, and to not make a relationship the center of my life, but my recovery, to put my recovery first. So I would say after step 12, but it depends. Like, some people, I have a sponsor, she dated after step 9 or 8, and it's going well. She has a relationship, I don't. So thanks for the question.
Next question. The scarcity thinking of the anorexic tells me that there's just no one out there. How did you meet people today?
I absolutely relate to this feeling of scarcity, that there is no one out there, especially if I'm using dating apps since like for the last 4 years, and in the beginning there's so many people, and then later on they become less and less, and then they show you the same people all over because they don't have any news. You know, and I know this feeling of scarcity, and then I really have to come to believe that my higher power has a plan for me, and it's not my, it's just not my business where and how this person will appear, if they live around the corner, if they are just arriving to my city. Or I heard a person, she told me she prayed to her higher power, please send me the person to my basement. You know, I just, wherever, in the most improbable places you can meet the person. So what I have to do is to trust my higher power on the one hand, but also to be active and to go out there. And this is what I have to practice, to go out at places where are people that might, you know, that are kind of my target group. Like, I need to go to lesbian and queer places to meet people. That's actually very easy, but not so easy for me. It's clear, but not easy for me.
Firstly, how important is it that they've got spiritual values? And when would you raise or reveal or disclose that you're in SLAA?
All right. Yeah. So the first question, I have the fantasy, or I had the fantasy, that it would be perfect to meet someone in the rooms, or maybe not in SLAA because they're too crazy around relationships, but maybe in AA because they're so exciting, you know? And then nowadays, I'm not so sure to have two addicts in a relationship, if this is a good idea. I don't know. It's up to my higher power. I would love to meet a person who is in some way spiritual. But my guideline is that they should be respectful towards my spirituality, that they don't make fun of it, or they don't, whatever, that it's not, we don't have to discuss every time I want to go to a meeting or to a spiritual place. And I'm sure it won't work anyway, because I talk about spirituality so much in my life, it wouldn't work out. So I guess it's somehow it will turn out naturally that it's a person that is at least respectful. But I have friends, they're on relationships with people who are even a little suspicious or don't love the program, and still they're in a good relationship. So the second question was, help me.
When do you disclose that you're in a 12
Right.
spiritual program?
So I guess it's two steps. Like, the first is to disclose that usually, well, in my dating app it says I'm spiritual, and some people ask about it, and then Well, I keep it a little vague. I say, well, it's kind of do-it-yourself spirituality, and well, I meditate, and maybe later I say I pray because it seems to be more strange to people. Um, it really depends how I feel with people. Uh, Usually, when I get closer to a person, I say I'm in a self-help group for healthy relationships. I don't name SLAA because it might be too, um, I don't know, shocking. Like, you hear this sex and love addicts. That sounds so, to normal people, it sounds really heavy, and I don't want to scare them off. So I put it in some other words. And I don't even know if I already told someone, like if I named SLAA. I'm not sure about it. Yeah. So it's really about how I feel, how much trust I have, how open they are towards spirituality and towards recovery topics. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a question from someone who's here today. Do you trust your gut instincts from date one, or do you hang in there? Because as an anorectic, I cancel dates, or if I get to the date, I only go to one date. How long, when your feelings come up and you don't think it's good and it's quite scary, how long do you persevere and keep trying to date that person?
That's a very good question. I can just share my experience with that. Um, in the beginning, someone told me that if I'm an anorectic, I should go at least to 3 dates. And I did it. I went to 5 dates, and I knew it quite in the beginning on the first or second date that this won't work out. But I thought, no, I have to go there. I have to go there. And it was so. It didn't. Today, it doesn't make sense to me. Like that's what I said in the beginning. I learned to trust my sobriety, and I learned to honor my feelings and my intuitions and my needs. For example, for me, a big issue in dating has been, should I date a person I'm not attracted to? Because one of my patterns is that I'm very much into good looking people, and this didn't really take me to a good place in the past because I ignored all my other needs of having someone who's kind or trustworthy or whatever. Uh, so in dating, I stayed longer with people than I should, I guess, because I thought, don't be so superficial, give them a chance. They're so nice people. Or I have this wish list, and they meet like every single point, whatever. They're academics, they have a nice job, they're kind, intelligent, smart, funny. But this one point which is on my list, I want to be attracted to this person, I want to be in love with this person, and the person doesn't meet this point. And I think, okay, you're too superficial, you have all the list met, you should stay with the person. And it doesn't work at all. It just didn't work out for me. So today I'm really a fan of trusting my gut feeling. And my sponsor also told me, find out how right you are. So if I have a feeling at the first meeting, at the first date, then I can go to a second just to verify my intuition. And if we're still like not having anything to talk about, or I still don't feel attracted to the person, today I personally I try to honor this feeling. And this might be different for other people, like because I hear about people who get to know each other, they don't find themselves each other attractive, they become friends, and at the end, whatever, they marry, and it's beautiful. But until now, it's not my experience. So there's a way to see attraction in those 4 ways, like emotional attraction, physical attraction, spiritual attraction, and intellectual attraction, or being a match. And for me today, they're all equal. I should honor them all. And it can be, for example, like I'm attracted they're kind, but our humor doesn't match at all. And for me, humor is extremely important. And if I make jokes and the person doesn't understand my jokes, it won't work out in the long run, I'm sure. Or they're very kind, but we don't meet intellectually, you know? We don't have shared interests in, I don't know, I like to talk about politics or whatever. And if this doesn't work out at all, it won't work out in the long run. That's my experience, at least. Thank you.
And have any of these dating experiences led to a relationship?
No. That was a disclaimer too in the beginning. Like, no, I haven't had a relationship in sobriety yet. And yeah, it's up to God when this will happen.
The question here is how to stay on track in your spiritual growth without losing your connection with God's will. And I think the context would have been, you know, once that relationship starts and you're in love, it's quite strong feelings. How do you stay on track with program and in connection with God's will?
Okay, I don't have the experience of being crazy in love in sobriety. I haven't experienced that. But actually, it's very simple. You know, if I have my home group, I go to my home group and I do service there, and I meet my commitments, my service commitments, like in committees, and staying in touch with other program members, like doing outreach and talking to my sponsor. And it's funny because actually with my SLAA sponsor, I don't speak once a week. We speak when I need it. And when I date, I need it a lot. Then I call him a lot, you know? So until now, dating made me need the program more than not dating, actually. But I don't know about how it will feel when I'm crazy in love. I have seen people going out of the program when they found a relationship. But I hope this won't happen because I really love this program and I love to see other people becoming sober and growing and becoming healthy. So I hope that my love for the program is stronger than my love addiction.
Thank you. As perfectionists, our wish list can be really long. How can we know which wishes we can sacrifice, or how can we be realistic?
Yeah, this for me it was a process during dating. I mean, that's why for me dating as a practice, it's really a process and a practice. And in the beginning, I was very perfectionist and having high expectations and of me and others. And I also thought like I will meet one person and we will get married, you know. And my sponsor said, you need to be as patient as everyone else. Like, okay, and now I haven't like 4 years, you know. So I heard the wish list of a friend and it was very long. And I think it's always good to get feedback from people who have more experience on that. Like what is bottom line, you know? Okay, I won't take a drug addict, that's for sure. But maybe I should be open about the hair color, you know? I have my preferences, but I should be open about it. Maybe there will be a wonderful, attractive person with another hair color. Or yeah, it's checking. Like I was talking to my sponsor also about education and intellectual matching because I was afraid that I was snobbish about that. And they said, well, it is important to have something to talk about it. So if there is a big difference in interests, like one person likes to have intellectual discussions and the other person, whatever, likes to talk about cars, then maybe it's not a match. So, and then I think it's about feeling, right? You meet a person and then maybe they don't match your wish list, but you like them. So yeah, I should go with my feelings and not with my wish list. You know? Thank you.
Which leads very nicely into the next question. How can I make sure that my wish list is about what I really want and not about what I don't want based on my history with my exes?
That's a good question. I thought when I came into the program that the next or the first sober relationship would be the total opposite of what I had before. Again, I guess it's just in dating we will find out. It's just we got to do it. Like we cannot theorize dating. We have to do it.
And more is always revealed. Was there literature on sober dating that you used and you could recommend?
That's also a good question. I used, there are several dating plans I read. I don't know actually where to find them. I don't know where I got them. Maybe from my sponsor, I guess. Maybe C can tell us more about it. I read, for example, I read a non-program book about sober dating and I absolutely didn't like it. It was too extreme for me and kind of anorectic or strange. It was just strange. I couldn't deal with that. Yeah, and like that's on dating. When I was thinking about how to behave in dating, right? Actually, it's very simple because we have in the fourth step we have the sex inventory, and it asks us where have we been selfish, dishonest, and inconsiderate? Where did we provoke jealousy, suspicion, and bitterness? So when I'm in dating, I try to be selfless, honest, and considerate, and not deliberately provoke bitterness and suspicion and jealousy. So these are my guidelines or my sex ideal, how I try to behave. And that does not mean, like, because this being selfless is kind of tricky in dating, right? Because there might be people, or there have been people who were into me and they wanted a relationship with me. And then being selfless doesn't mean that I stay with them just because they want it. It's being selfless. What does it mean to me? It means that I risk that they are angry at me or disappointed for the sake of honesty. Like I have to be honest with myself and them, and sometimes, yeah, that means that they get angry or disappointed.
So by someone who says they avoid dating altogether, particularly if I find the person attractive, and they've been in the program for several years, do you have anything to share about that? They're thinking it might be a fear of attachment and falling into emotional dependency again.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear. That I will get back where I was when I came to SLAA. And then I really have to remind myself that I'm just not the same person anymore. It's just like we have this complete psychic change through the steps. So we are different and we have, I suppose, like I feel different than I came in. I'm not so needy anymore, you know. I enjoy my life without a relationship. So and this is also a matter of experience. Like I ask myself, what is the purpose of my long dating without leading to a relationship? And one of my biggest issues is kind of that I feel obliged to stay with people. And now I had the chance to repeatedly quit a dating relationship, although they were into me. So I'm practicing to say no. I'm practicing to say no, thank you, you know, and that gives me the confidence that, or the just the experience that I am able to leave where I was not able to leave in the past. But today I am able to leave, and that gives me the confidence to, yeah, to stay the dating process, and to get to know people, and to trust that I will be strong enough and grounded enough in my faith and in the program to be able to leave if it's not good. Even if I'm crazy in love, I will be able to see it, to be honest with myself, to talk to people in the program, and then to take a healthy decision.
Thank you.
So I guess it's just do it.
The next question's a bit personal, so please feel free to say pass. Has your dating experience led to a relapse? And if so, how did you get restored to sobriety?
That's also an interesting question. I thought it had led to a relapse because at that time I had this very strict rule of no sex outside a committed relationship. And I had kind of sex, like some kind of sexual intimacy with the person I was dating for. I think it was the 10th or 11th date. We've been dating like 3 months. And I thought, oh, but I'm not in a committed relationship. I don't even want to be in a committed relationship with this person, but I'm having this sexual intimacy. And I thought that was a relapse. And I told my sponsees and my sponsor, and I did some slip questions. And I went to an AA convention as a guest, and they were having a sobriety countdown. And the woman, a very experienced AA, she saw me sitting there, like getting up at the last person, I think, with whatever 1 week of sobriety, or I don't know. And she said, "What are you doing? Like, are you just trying to hurt yourself? Nice try. You are not in relapse. You're beaming. I can see it. You're not in relapse." But it took me 1 more year to to tell myself this was not a relapse. It was not even a slip. It was just an experience, you know. And today I don't have this strict bottom lines anymore. So yeah, that's my experience. I don't really know about real relapses. Thank you.
I've got a question. Can sober dating ever be fun?
That's a very good question. I ask myself. If I let go, if I give myself permission to have fun and to really follow my intuition, my gut feeling. Like if I several times I have people on my dating app and I think, oh, they look kind of nice or responsible, or they might be a good partner, but I'm not attracted, you know? And then I force myself to go on a date with them, and it's not fun. It's just, yeah. But so I need to just give myself permission to go on dates with people I like, you know? And then it's fun. Yeah. And then even a date with this person I didn't like, but we were kissing, was fun in a way. On that way, on a physical way. So yes, it can be fun, but we're still working on it, actually.
Thank you so much. We'll end the recording and we'll open the floor for others to share.